Welcome to Living the Empowered Life podcast, where we discuss all things empowering, encouraging and inspiring. My name is Yvonne Ellis. I'm an empowerment speaker, author, coach, trainer and founder of Yumi Empowerment, a company that facilitates the empowerment of people. I help people to make positive life change, live in their purpose and develop into their best version of self. I share stories, interviews, spiritual encouragement and actionable tips to empower, encourage and inspire you to live the life you want. So if you want to live the empowered life, join me each week on my podcast so we can take the journey together. Hello Empowered Lifers, welcome to episode 62 of Living the Empowered Life podcast. My name is Yvonne. If it's your first time here listening in, I am the host. And on this podcast, I share with you things that are empowering, encouraging and inspiring. I share tips and advice to help you to live an empowered life and to live your life to the fullest. If you haven't subscribed or hit the follow on the platform that you're listening to this podcast on, whether that be Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, be sure to do so you don't miss the bi-weekly episodes. And I just want to say again, welcome if it's your first time here. I hope that you find this episode to be something of value to you and to my continued listeners. You know already, guys, love you guys and thank you for your support. So nothing really much has been going on this week in my life. I've just been busy working and studying. And, I've had a 3-week break now from uni, which will be used to catch up on some of my studies. I have shared in a recent video I've done on Living the Empowered Life podcast my thoughts so far on finishing term 1 of year 2 of my master's degree. I can't believe I've only got about 9 months left, but, I'm sure it will go really, really quickly. I just have to buckle down and get my head down and do my work. But all in all, I'm enjoying doing the degree. I haven't had much time to do stuff with my book, Exceptional Not Expected, but I'm continuing to get really great feedback about the book and how it's inspiring and motivating other people to live the life that they want, to live an empowered life. I am planning after the Easter to do some book stuff, go around to some bookstores and different things like that. I've got a little plan of action. But I just needed the time and I have a little bit of time that I can push in after the Easter. So that's what I will be doing. But if you have read my book, I would love to hear from you about, some of the takeaways that you got from it. And also, I would appreciate your support if you can leave a review on Amazon so that other people know about this book that I've written and how it can possibly help them to live the life that they want. So in today's episode, I have a question for you. Do you know who you are? In this episode, I want to talk to you about the importance of knowing yourself because, to know yourself and knowing who you are is key to living an empowered life. But before I get into that, I want to share with you a couple of quotes that I've come across in relation to this subject about knowing yourself. The first is by a rapper called RZA. He used to be in the Wu-Tang Clan many, many years ago, like they were really big in the 90s. But he shares this quote: "If you don't know yourself, you don't know your nature. If you don't know your nature, you don't know where to exist. By knowing your nature, knowing yourself, you know what to be and how to live. And that only comes from knowledge of self, knowing yourself." So that quote is really, really deep. When I first read it, I was just like, wow, it really does sum up perfectly what knowing yourself and the journey of knowing yourself is like. Also this quote by Felicia Day. She says, "Knowing yourself is life's eternal homework." How very true. Knowing yourself is a lifelong journey. It is something that takes time. But would you be surprised if I told you that people go through their whole life not knowing who they are, what they believe, what they like and dislike, or what even motivates or inspires them as a person? A lot of people have their identity tied up in anything and everything but themselves. The process of forming a sense of self really does begin in childhood and it's influenced by a wide variety of factors. According to WellMind, an online organisation that deals with matters of the mind, there are some factors that can influence somebody not knowing their self, which can affect their identity. One of the things they say is individuation. This is the process that people go through to develop their own unique sense of self. They say that children need room to express themselves freely without the fear of shame, guilt, criticism, and judgment in order for the process to be successful. The next thing they say is society. Societal influences and expectations can play an important part in identity. Culture, media, religions, gender roles, and other factors that are part of society can affect how you feel about who you are. And another factor they give is your family. It is your early caregivers and your family members who play some of the earliest roles in the formation of your identity. Throughout life, the various roles you play in your family can affect how you see yourself, and the nature of your relationships with your loved ones can also have an effect on whether you feel strong or a weak sense of self. And as I read these factors, I remember thinking to myself, this was me at 22 years old. After years of living with the aftermath of childhood abuse, at the end of running for myself, I had to face myself. And what I found is a young woman that had no sense of who I was. I couldn't tell you what I stood for, what motivated me. I couldn't tell you my goals and dreams. I was caught up in people pleasing, specifically an ex-partner that I had at the time who I wanted to love me, even though the relationship was abusive. And it is a common sign of lost identity among women. I know many other women along my life who have been lost and swallowed up in a relationship, have lost themselves in a relationship, giving their all to it without having a sense of their own self. One of the things I found is that the more that I tried to please that person, the more I seemed to lose myself. Whether that person was happy with me or not, it put me in an insecure place, a dangerous place, because when that person treated me unfair, it left me depressed and at their will. So it was like I was giving power over to this person because I didn't have a sense of self. I didn't know myself. I didn't have confidence. I didn't have self-esteem. So I was totally in a really dark place. You see, when you have low self-esteem or low confidence, early beginnings when your core foundation is not strengthened by your family or your environment around you and is weakened by external factors, and you have no sense of personal identity, it can have you in a place where you seek personal validation from others. It robs you from living your life. There are many dangers of living with a lost identity, not knowing yourself. It can leave you open to manipulation and negative influence of others. Not knowing yourself means you base your identity on others. So your identity and the things that you want to do and who you are as a person is not based on you, but based upon somebody around you, maybe somebody you look up to. Also as well, you'll be influenced by others to become who they want you to be. Living the empowered life is connected to who you are. It's about vision, purpose, values, morals, knowing what you want and where you are going in life. Knowing who you are, your purpose and your life journey all work hand in hand. Now, if you are somebody who is struggling to know who you are, or you've just always lived and never really given much thought to the things that matter to you or to your life, I want to encourage you, because it is never too late to start knowing yourself, to finding the key pieces to your identity. I started that journey at 22 years old, and I have been on that journey ever since. It's not something that you should be beating yourself up about, because it's something that you can change. So I want to help you on your journey to knowing yourself and to finding the keys to your identity. So the first thing I would say to you is to get to know yourself better. Think about the things that matter to you. If you haven't thought about them before, what type of things would matter to you? What are your goals and dreams? Figure out what is important to you, what's not important to you, what you stand for. I would suggest, writing this all down in a notebook or something, taking the time to think about this question and really reflecting on it, spending that time to think about what it is that you want, who you are, and what matters to you. Start writing down some of those things. The next thing I want to say to you is learn about who you currently are and think about the person you want to become. What will it take to be the person you want to be? Maybe you see that you don't know who you are and that you don't really have a sense of identity and you feel unhappy about it. What type of things do you think will help you to be the person you want to be? How about where you currently are now? Is there some things that you would like to remove or take away from your life? Again, it's time to sit down and reflect and think about these things. Figure out what your values are and what is important to you, not to others. These things will help you to start building that sense of knowing yourself. The next thing I would say to you is to try new things, new experiences, different experiences. These types of things will help you to know what types of things that you didn't know about yourself before, what you like, what you don't like, what things that you want to pursue further in life. New experiences in life are part of living the empowered life. These are the things that are going to help to build your self-esteem, build your confidence, help you to understand, the things that you, as I said, like and dislike. The next thing I want to say to you is to learn to trust yourself. Sometimes when you are seeking that validation from others, it comes from not trusting yourself with your decisions. And it is there in a grip of low self-esteem and low confidence that it's easy to hand over decision making to someone else in your life. I want to encourage you that it's okay to make decisions and choices that don't work out in life. Because, in making decisions and choices about different things, it's part of you learning to trust yourself. Even if you make mistakes, it's okay. You just try again, reflect and go forward. Even if other people don't agree with them. It's part of your journey to knowing yourself. And the last thing I want to share with you, a tip to help you if you struggle with knowing yourself and have a lost identity, is to spend time by yourself. Sit with yourself. Solitude is not loneliness. There is a difference between the two. Start to explore the benefits of alone time. This is one of the things that has hugely helped me in my life, hugely helped me to live an empowered life. As I've shared with you guys who have listened to my podcast over the time that it's been on up and running, is that I'm happy to go out by myself. I'm happy to spend my own time. I'm happy to, I have that confidence and courage to do all those things because I like spending time by myself. I don't need to have somebody to hold my hand to do stuff. It's okay to do things with other people, but equally it should be okay for you to be able to say, I can go and spend time with myself and I'm okay with that. I don't feel insecure or feel that there is something wrong with that. You have one life and it's unique to you. And I would encourage you to explore and find out who you are in this thing called life. The Bible scripture I want to share with you this week comes from Lamentations chapter 3, verse 40. It says, "Let us test and examine our ways and return to the Lord." I think on this Easter Resurrection Sunday, when we celebrate the birth and the resurrection of Jesus Christ, I think this is a very fitting scripture. When you are thinking about knowing yourself and you're comparing yourself to others or allowing others to decide who you are, I would encourage you to let the Lord be that person in your life. Let the Lord examine and test your ways and show you how you can know yourself through Him. He is the creator of heaven and earth. He is the one that has breathed His breath and His life into us. Who better than to help you know yourself than the creator of heaven and earth? Through Jesus Christ, you can do this. You can ask Him into your heart and life, and He can help you to know yourself. He can fill those places in you that may seek validation from others or affirmation from others. That is my encouragement to you today. To live the empowered life means you start to know yourself. And as that quote said at the beginning, it is a lifelong journey. So guys, that is it for this podcast. As always, I will do a post notification when I upload this podcast to my social media, Yemi Empowerment, YEME_empowerment, on Instagram and also on Twitter and Facebook. I will let you know when I upload the episode. And the question I have for you this week is, what one thing can you do to get to know yourself better or start knowing yourself? Drop me a comment, DM me, wherever it is, and I will love, to hear from you. Also as well, guys, if you need support and empowerment and encouragement to help you to live an empowered life, I am a certified empowerment coach. I help my clients to figure out what they want with their life and go after their goals, dreams and aspirations. I will leave a link to that. I offer a free assessment for you to get started. So please do check it out. It will be in the show notes. Also, my book, Exceptional Not Expected, Into the Unknown. All my other books will also have links in the show notes for you to check them out. And also, guys, I do a monthly newsletter to help people to live an empowered life. I email motivating, inspirational newsletters to people on my newsletter list. And that is once a month. If that's something you'd be interested in, getting a dose of positivity into your inbox, then do sign up to the newsletter. All links will be in the show notes below. So that is it, guys. Hope that you enjoy your day. Happy Easter Sunday to you. And I will see you on the next podcast episode. Take care.